Hi students, welcome to our first day in week 3. We are getting halfway there. Today in our grammar section, we will help you understand the roots and the parts of English words. Now, the idea of understanding how English words work begin with understanding letters and grouping the letters together. So in this slide, you should probably know the alphabet in English has 26 letters and it's based on the Greek alphabet. Now, you already know your letters, so there's not much to teach you here, but it is what to do with the letters and the parts of words they form that is going to help you understand how new words work. So let's use a word as an example. Here we have a word biology. So the individual letters, well, there's B-I-O-L-O-G-Y. Yes, there are 7 letters, but certain letters group together to form parts of words. So we have B-I-O or bio, and you probably use bio for short anyway, but bio means life. And ology or logi, you can think of the word like logic or logos here. So these Greek words give meaning, and putting them together gives you a new word. So bio means life, and logi, or based on logos, means the study of. Okay, so when you put bio and logi together, you'd have biology. See that? So biology is the study of life. So many words can be broken into parts like this, or small units. If you want to learn more, you can study linguistics at university to learn more about how languages work and how words are formed and what letters are for and sounds and so on. But today we are using these rules to help you build vocabulary and understand and change word forms. So let's take a look at what that means. Here we have 3 words that you can use. There's one, uni, by, and try. And you can guess what these mean, or you already know. Uni means 1, by means 2, and try means 3. Cycle here refers to the wheels. Circles. Wheels are circles. Circle, wheel. So a unicycle has 1 wheel. A unicycle. A bicycle, which you probably know how to ride, 2 wheels. A tricycle, which you also know how to ride, anyone can ride this, has 3 wheels. So the word form here is the same. You have uni, by, or try, and you're adding these parts to cycle, and using a different part at the beginning here changes the meaning of the word. And we're talking about different things here by applying different parts to words. in terms of definitions and changing the meanings of words, just like how you have uni, bi, or try, and then you add those with cycle to make a new word. A prefix is a part of a word that you put at the beginning. So before another part of the word. For example, here's a prefix, a part of a word that you put before a word. And X means former, something that was before, or it could mean something outside of. So for example, if we use the first meaning of X, first one, you can say here, well, so example, ex-boyfriend, or, you know, ex-girlfriend. Someone who was your boyfriend or girlfriend before. Former boyfriend, former girlfriend. So these combinations are new words. Here, you mean, if you use the word part EX to mean out of, outside of, you can have external, or exterior. And let me show you how you can see the way the prefixes work. So for example, the opposite of out is in. So in is another suffix. I can go internal and interior. Here we're talking about the outside of things, and here we're talking about the inside of things. So by changing the prefix, the part of a word that attaches at the beginning of a word, you can make a new word with different meanings. The next word part is suffix. So a suffix is a part of a word that attaches at the end. So here's a simple example. You know this one. When you add an S to a noun, for example, apple, that's one apple. If you say many, you add S, many apples. Quick question for you. So this is for nouns, singular and plural. When you add an S to a verb, what do you make the verb into? What form do you use? So, for example, you can say I write. And if I add an S to write, to make it right, you would use other pronouns like he, she, or it. So you're changing the verb form to match the pronoun, something you already learned before. And it's by adding the suffix S for verb. Okay. Another suffix, something that changes the meaning of a word. Here you have the suffix ist. And the example here is chemist. So it's chem plus ist. Now, this example can confuse you because chemist is someone who does chemistry, who studies and uses chemistry. And before I go too far off topic, notice you can add a suffix to another suffix. See? Chemist plus ry. So now, instead of talking about a person, chemistry is the subject, or the study of, well, in your textbooks it'll say matter, but let's just say for now chemicals. Another suffix. See that? So here's the idea. The more affixes, so you have prefix. Notice P itself is another prefix. So prefix, think of it as before, and suffix, after the word. You can start to change the meanings of words. And you can even do the same with biology. So biology, but instead of biology, you can say biologist. So this is someone who studies, I need to write who here, who studies or uses biology, or someone who studies life, a biologist. So lots of possibilities and lots of ways you can combine word parts to make new words. You can use prefixes before the words or suffixes after the words. So it would look like this. You would have a word, and then you could add a prefix before the word, or you could add the suffix after the word. See that? And then you can have a new word. So that's the formula. Now we talked about the prefix, the part of a word that is before the word, and then suffix, the part of the word that is after the word. So there is a specific name for the word in the middle, and that's called the root or the stem. So you can call it the root or the stem. But now in this lecture, you can use either one of those. It means the part of the word that needs to be there to have the basic meaning. So the basic element of the word. So in chemistry, you might see that as the atom. And just like an independent clause that holds meaning, your root is an independent part of the word that holds the main meaning, and you can't break this part down any smaller. You can break a new word that has prefixes and suffixes into its different parts, but there's no break here in the root. So here's an example. Ter, or terra, means earth. So you can start adding words, parts of words in there to make it a new word. So the word example here is extra plus ter. So no a here, because you're going to use a different vowel, io. So io means relating to, ter means earth, and extra means outside. So it is somebody who is not from earth, outside of earth. So this guy. So ET. Now you know, if you don't already, what ET stands for. Extra plus terrestrial. So that's how you can break the word extraterrestrial down. You look for the root, which is terra. And the more you know with your vocab, the easier it will be in breaking down words. And more practice also makes things easier. You can also look for word parts you already know. So you probably know the word part extra, and it's its own root too. But when you use it with a word, it means outside of. And then io is the suffix for sure. You attach to the end of words. So here's a tip for deconstructing words or breaking words down into smaller parts. Into smaller parts. Okay, so here's a tip for this. Most words in English come from Greek or Latin. So you'll see in our resource at least 100 of these words that you can learn to identify the prefixes, the suffixes, and the roots. And if you know these parts, you can guess a word's meaning. So this way, if you already know some parts of the word, so let's say you know parts of a word, then you can guess the meaning of the whole word. So for example, I'll give you here, entomologist. Here's an example. What parts do you recognize right away? So you recognize the IST, yes. You recognize the LOGY, and then you may or may not know this part, entomo. So you may wonder what this is. But remember, you already know what LOGY or logi means. It means the study or the study of, and IST means someone a person relating to this. So it's a person who studies this. And if you figure out what this means, it actually means insects, bugs. So an entomologist is someone who studies bugs. So knowing the parts of a word will help you guess the whole word more easily. And most of these parts are Greek or Latin. And I'm going to double check here using the dictionary. Entomologist. See? So we have the scientific study of insects. So this is entomology, but if I add IST, so it would be someone who studies insects. And let's look at the origin. So in the Longman Dictionary, you can have, or in most dictionaries, you can find the origins of words, where words come from. So you can even find out the year, what language it's from, and the root word here it's Greek, and entomon, which is an insect. So each word, you can also look for the origin of it to see the roots and the parts of words. That will help you understand the meaning of it. But if you know the parts already, you can start guessing the word. So here's a first activity. You may or may not know this word exhibition. but you probably have not tried breaking the words into parts. So we have X means outside of, which you already know. ION, which you also know. It means the act or the result or the state of something. Inhibit means to have or to hold. So put them together. Exhibition means the act of holding something outside. Okay, so an example of this would be an outdoor event. It's missing a T here, such as the Olympics or the Science Expo. Can you think of an opposite word of exhibition? What part of the word would you change? Would you change the roots, the suffix, or the prefix? Remember, if you want to make a word, give the word an opposite meaning, which part would you change? The opposite word of exhibition, well, at least in theory, is inhibition. So inhibit is the same, ION is the same. So in would be, well, you know, inside, inward, etc. So the rest are the same. So if you were to guess the meaning of this word, you might think, oh, it would be the act of holding something inside, but that's not quite right. Act, result. It is the act of something. Oh, not opposition. Opposite. You can check with a dictionary. So another tip, you can always check with a dictionary. And now that you know the words can be broken into parts, you can use more creative ways to build your vocabulary. For example, exhibition. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Exhibition. So remember, certain words have different meanings, have more than one meaning or multiple meanings. So here it is a noun. It can be a show. It can be a public place. And here we can use them with verbs. To have an exhibition, to put on an exhibition, like to put on a show. Here you can use adjectives to describe exhibitions. Then you can use it with nouns. See, show an exhibition. So two meanings here. One is a show and the other is sort of an event or a piece of art. Now, compare this with exhibition, inhibition. Now, inhibition is not talking about shows or events, but it's something that is not showing, something you don't want to show, and something that is stopping you from doing something or stopping something from happening. But you see, the prefix in is indeed the opposite of X. All right. So if you were to look at this in the chart, the structure is the same. You have the prefix, you have the roots, then you have the suffix, and together you can make new words. Okay, sometimes you can just add a prefix and have another word. Sometimes you can have a root and add a suffix, and that's a new word as well. Sometimes you can add more than one suffix. Another word. And sometimes you could even have a combination. You can have prefix, prefix, but you always have a root. And you never have more than one root in the word. But you can have multiple prefixes or suffixes in any reasonable combination. Sort of usually one or two of each type, except the roots. And then you have new word, like that. But they go together. Exhibition. Government. Biology or geology. So here's an example. See if you can break this word down, government. You can look at the chart from before, and you can see the parts are broken like this. To govern is to rule, and then ment. So that's the state of ruling. State of ruling, or to rule. Then the next word, inhabitation. So in, and this time means inside. Habit means to live or to hold something. Eight, and then ION. This time you have two suffixes. Suffix here, plus suffix here, and then a prefix over here. Notice each of these words have only one root. That's the key. Never two roots. This one, here's two. Okay, so this describes the state of holding in somewhere, living in a place. So habit means to live, like habitat. In means inside. In this case, it can also mean opposite of, like in sensitive. So this is a different prefix, even though it spells the same. So this means not sensitive. So this is a one kind of in, and this is a different kind of in. So this is living inside, and this Asian put together. So this is to live inside, the state of. And then geology, you already know. Geo is the root, means earth, Greek, and then OG means the study of. Okay, so here's a brief, that was a brief introduction on how to recognize different parts of words. So you have the prefix, you have a root, and you have a suffix before the word, the main part of the word, or or word itself, and then after the word. Recognizing these parts would help you guess the meanings of words, and changing the parts or adding parts would change the meaning of words. So if you know the parts, You can guess the word or even know the word. Change the parts. You can change the meaning or change the word.
It's in italics.
So word here refers to the meaning as well. Okay. That's it for the lecture. If you have any questions about word parts, prefixes, suffixes, and roots, feel free to post on Canvas or ask me in email. The other videos is going to show you how to study the word parts, roots, and prefixes. So stay tuned.
So you've got to make sure that the journal title is